Hey guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're back, well, welcome back. This week we are doing legs, and I know that this upload is a little bit early, but I know with Thanksgiving being later this week, everyone's going to get busy, and I wanted to get you something up, but give you some time to watch it before chaos ensues for Thanksgiving. So here we are, a little bit early, that's okay. This week we are going to start out with something a little bit different. I'm going to warm up and do glute activation as normal, but we are going to start out with HEX squats instead of deadlifts or normal squats. The reason why I'm doing this is because a few of you have asked me questions about improving deadlift form, and basically what HEX squats are going to do is really make sure that your back is straight. It's basically a deadlift, but as you're going to see with the HEX bar, your arms are off to the side instead of in front of you like they would be with a deadlift. And that's going to keep you from wanting to pull yourself forward to grab and lift the bar. With that being said, I do go a little bit lighter on these. It also is something that I will explain to you. I just wanted to tell you why we're doing them and then explain to you the setup as we get into that clip. So I'm going to go ahead and warm up and do glute activation, and I will see you for the HEX squats. Okay, two things not related to HEX squats that I want to point out. First of all, I caught a cold, so that's why I sound like I'm dying. Second of all, my mic is missing, so I am just batting 1,000 this week. First thing that we're going to do here are HEX squats. Like I said, basically a deadlift, but instead of your hands being out front, they are to the sides. You want good glute contact here. I did 10 reps for 4 sets. Moving into our first superset, it is very quad focused. We are going to be starting out with these hack squats. Most gyms will have some variation of a hack squat machine. If not, it's okay to just do normal squats. You just won't be concentrating as much on your quads as you will with these. Also, I want you to point out my feet. My toes are still on the platform, but when I come up from the squat, I'm pushing through my heels, causing them to come up off of the platform. I did 10 reps of that, and then I'm moving over into these goblet squats, and they're a little bit different because my feet are close together, and they are also elevated by a weight plate. So this also is a good variation to a leg extension machine if you have bad knees. It also is why I tell you not to squat in running shoes, because putting the weight on your toes like this is basically what you're doing in a running shoe with all the cushioning on your heel. You can't push up through the heel, and you can't activate your hamstrings and your glutes. So I did 12 reps of that and 3 sets total. Our second superset is all about the calves, starting with the seated calf raises. I did 10 of them. What these are going to do with the way your knees are bent is work the soleus muscle, which isn't effectively worked in these standing calf raises that we are going to do next. I did 15 of these. These are going to work your gastrocnemius muscle. It's just 2 different muscles within your calves that you want to make sure that you're hitting. I did 3 sets total. Third superset is going to be on the cable, starting out with these single leg hamstring curls. I am using a BOSU ball just to prevent my leg from pushing into the ground. That's going to put a lot more stress, the good kind of stress, onto my hamstrings and really isolate that muscle group. I'm doing 12 of those on each leg, and then I'm going to be doing cable pull-throughs. These are basically the cable variation of a kettlebell swing. We're still driving up through our heels to our hamstrings and glutes. Another thing that I want to point out is that locking out your pelvis does not equate to getting good glute contact. Earlier, when I was doing HEX squats, you could see the ugly butt scrunch, and that is what you want when targeting your glutes, not necessarily just locking out your pelvis. So that's something that I wanted to point out to you guys. I did 15 reps of these pull-throughs, and I did 3 sets total. Next, we're moving into cable kickbacks. There are a lot of different variations of kickbacks that you can do. I just chose to stay on the cables. Most important thing here, guys, is to kind of notice the angle that I'm standing on with this. My back isn't completely straight. I'm not standing straight up, but there isn't any pressure on my lower back either. I also want you to look at my back as I'm kicking out. I'm not overextending anything. And the last thing is to kind of imagine kicking back a box with your heel. That's the kind of contact that you want here. I did 20 reps on each side and 4 sets total. Last exercise are these standard hip thrusters, nothing funky this time. When I set them up, I put the bottom of my shoulder blades against the side of the bench, and then I focus on driving up through my heels, and when I go down with the weight, I don't go all the way to the floor, just to keep tension on my glutes. I did 10 reps of these for 4 sets total. Everything will be down below, guys. Hey guys, I just finished my workout. While I still have you here, I kind of wanted to talk about what my goals were as far as my legs. I've kind of touched on it before. Basically, I train a lot of glute and hamstrings because my quads are overly developed. If you couldn't tell by looking at me, a lot of people do have more dominant quads. That's kind of the way that the trend is going because of how sedentary we are as human beings, but it's not as pronounced as maybe mine is. I can do about 30 pounds more on a leg extension machine than I can on a hamstring curling machine, and I definitely have weaker glutes. So that's kind of why I hit hamstrings and glutes a lot more than I hit quads. Not to say that I completely neglect quads, but I still hit them. I just don't hit them as often or as hard as I hit hamstrings and glutes. I still get them in by the superset that I did earlier or by complex exercises, and that's kind of what I do. As far as glute and hamstrings go, I just want them balanced with my quads, to be quite honest with you. There are a lot of people on social media that have a goal of having a bigger butt than they would legs, which is fine, but that imbalance is going to lead to injury. My quad imbalance could lead to injury basically because for example, your compound lifts, squats, are a very quad dominant exercise, but when you're going down in a squat, it's quad dominant, and when you're coming up from the squat, you're also using your glutes and hamstrings to bring that weight back up. And if your quads are a lot stronger than your hamstrings and your glutes, you're going to be able to lower more weight than you can bring back up, and that's going to cause you, if you go with that higher weight that you're comfortable with going down, to either fail if you're lucky. That's not what you want, but that is like luck. Or you're going to get hurt if you try to go with something that is way too heavy for your glutes and hamstrings. So that's why it's important to me to balance it out. That's why my goals are what they are. My goal overall is to be more athletic than aesthetic. The aesthetic part is definitely a cool thing to have, but my goals overall are to be athletic. A lot of people on social media are more aesthetic, and that's fine. That's their goal. That's what they're working on, but that is not what I'm going for. So with me explaining that, I am done for this week. I hope that everyone has a good Thanksgiving, everyone is safe, everyone remembers what Thanksgiving is for. We're spending time with family. We are not concerned as much with what we're eating. We're gonna get back on it as soon as the holiday is over. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whichever one you are back into your routine on, we'll just jump right back on into it like it's a rest day. And if you like this video,
please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you next time.